Okay, so today we're going to pick up with absolute value equations, and we're going to solve those. And so if you notice up there on the board, that was the very last example that I had you write down, and I said we would solve that today. Okay, so if you remember, what undoes absolute value? The plus or minus. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get rid of the absolute value. And then on the right, I've got plus or minus. The problem here is that I've got a quantity. That's the problem. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this into two separate equations. Okay, two separate equations. First equation, we'll use the plus sign. So x plus 10 equals 4x minus 8. Or x plus 10 equals negative the quantity 4x minus 8. Now notice I didn't put a plus sign on the first one because the plus sign means that it's positive. I mean, that's a positive quantity, so it's going to stay the same.
Why is the first one not in parentheses?
Because,
That's my question.
no, I just said it.
Oh.
I just finished saying it when you, no, the reason why I didn't put it is because if I have a positive sign, if I would have written this, that's the same thing as just writing it. So that's why I didn't put that one in parentheses. I could have, but I would have just gotten rid of the parentheses in the next step. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and solve the first equation on the left. So that means we need to get all the x's to one side, so I'm going to move the x over here to the right. The reason I moved it to the right is so it would stay positive. So now I get 10 to equal 3x minus 8. Next, what do I do? Add 8, very good. And so I end up getting, yep, 18 equals 3x. Divide both sides by 3. And as you've already said, x equals 6. Very good. Now we got to do the same thing over here. Okay. This one's different though because I'm going to distribute that negative to each term. So really I get x plus 10 to equal negative 4x plus 8. I'm going to go ahead and add 4x to both sides here. The reason why I'm moving them to the left is so that my x will stay positive. So I end up getting 5x plus 10 equals 8. What do you do now? Minus 10. Okay. So I get 5x to equal negative 2. And then I get x to equal negative 2/5. Now, if you remember, the topic of this was extraneous solutions, which means you can get extra solutions. So what we need to do with each of our problems is we need to check our answers. Okay, so I really should have circled the pink. We don't know if that one works yet. So I'm going to plug 6 in here. Okay, if I take 6 plus 10, what do you get? 16. Absolute value of 16 is 16. If I plug 6 in here, 4 times 6 is 24 minus 8 is 16. So that one does work. So yeah, we were right on that one. Now the next one, I got to put in my 2/5. Okay, so here we go with the 2/5. Actually, it's negative 2/5. So since you're checking, if you wanted to, you could actually use negative 0.4 because that is in fact what negative 2/5 is. So let's use negative 0.4. If I take negative 0.4 and I add 10 to that, I get 9.6, and that's what the absolute value is. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take negative 0.4 times 4. What do you get? Negative 1.6 minus 8. What does that equal? Negative 9.6. Do those equal the same thing? Nope. So this is actually what we call an extraneous solution. So that one will not work. You have to check each one. Sometimes you'll get none to work, sometimes you'll get 1, sometimes you'll get 2. Let's go ahead and look at another one. Okay. This one's,
Second.
okay. This one's a little more difficult, and the next one will be a little more difficult. They're going to be a little more involved. So up here on the board, you're going to notice I've got 2 times the absolute value of x plus 1 minus x equals 3x minus 4. This is different from the problem before. The problem before had an absolute value all alone on one side and everything else on the other. That's what we need to do here. So we need to get this absolute value. We need to get this absolute value, x plus 1. That has to be all by itself on the left side. Or it could be on the right side. I'm just going to leave it on the left though. So that means everything else I have to move. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add x to both sides. So that's going to leave me with 2 times the absolute value of x plus 1 equals what? 4x minus 4. Now once again I need to get the absolute value all by itself before I can even start solving. So what do you need to do now? Divide by 2. So I'm going to divide each of those by 2. On the left, those cancel. Leaves me with the absolute value of x plus 1. On the right, what is 4x divided by 2? 2x. What is 4 divided by 2? 2. So notice how you have to divide each individual term by 2. How do you get rid of the absolute value now? Plus or minus. So x plus 1 equals plus or minus 2x minus 2. So first thing, x plus 1 equals positive 2x minus 2, or x plus 1 equals negative 2x minus 2. So now let's subtract x from both sides, and you should get 1 to equal x minus 2. What does x equal? 3. Good. So what we could do is actually check our answer right now if we wanted. So I'm going to plug in 3. Now notice you're going to want to plug it into the top equation, because then if you've made an error. So if I plug 3 in here, 3, 3, 3. So let's first of all start, what's 3 plus 1? 4. Absolute value 4 is. Times 2 is. So I end up having 8 minus 3 equals. 3 times 3 here is 9 minus 4. What is 8 minus 3? 5. What is 9 minus 4? So will that one work? Yep. Now we got to work on the next one. Okay, don't automatically assume it won't work. It might work. So I have x plus 1 equals negative 2x plus 2. The reason why it's plus is because I'm distributing the negative here and here. So now let's go ahead and add 2x to both sides. I'm also going to show you how you can negative 1, negative 1. That way you can do it all in one step. On the left side you get 3x. On the right side you get positive 1. So what do we get x to equal?
Where's the 2 on the
Okay, I subtracted 2x from both sides, which is what, or added 2x to both sides. Got rid of that one. Then what I did is subtract 1 from over here and moved it over here. You can do it all in, or you can do it in 2 steps instead of the same. What does x equal? 1/3. Okay, so now, yeah, great. A lot of fun, not. So let's plug 1/3 in. So what's 1/3 plus 1? 1 1/3. So you have 2 times 1 1/3 minus 1/3 equals 3 times 1/3 minus 4. Okay, what's 2 times 1 1/3? 2 2/3. So I got 2 2/3 minus 1/3. What's 3 times 1/3? 1 minus 4. Oh. What's 2 2/3 minus 1/3? 2 1/3. What's 1 minus 4? Those equal each other? No. That's an extraneous solution. Okay, so let's look at our very last problem. A little bit like the last one. 3 times 2x plus 2 minus 2x equals x plus 3. So let's recall again. I want to get this all by itself. So what do you have to do? Add 2x, good. So I'm going to add 2x to both sides. So I end up getting 3 times the absolute value of 2x plus 2 equals 3x plus 3. What do you do now? Divide by 3, good. Now remember when we divide by 3, we divide each thing by 3. So I get the absolute value of 2x plus 2 equals plus 1. Okay. To get rid of the absolute value, what does that mean? Plus or minus. So 2x plus 2 equals plus or minus x plus 1. So what's my first one going to be? 2x plus 2 equals what? X plus 1, or what's my next one going to be? Good. Negative x plus 1. Now some of you might notice that there is a shortcut on the second one. You could just make each of those negative and get rid of the parentheses. So what I'm saying is you could just write it as 2x plus 2 equals negative x minus 1 and take care of that negative sign, if you can remember to do that. So to solve the first one, I'm going to subtract x from both sides, okay? In which case I'm going to get x on the left side. Then I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. So I get x to equal negative 1. So let's plug negative 1 in. If I plug negative 1 in for x right here, what do I get? Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So basically I end up getting 0 minus 2 times negative 1. Let's see if that equals negative 1 plus 3. What is negative 2 times negative 1? Negative 2 times negative 1? 2. What is negative 1 plus 3? 2. So that one checks. Okay. Very last one here, what I need to do is go ahead and solve again. So I'm going to go ahead and add x to both sides. On the left side I will get 3x. Then I need to subtract 2 from both sides. And so on the right side, what do I get? Negative 3. So what do I find x to equal? Negative 1. So let's see if negative 1 works. Oh. I got the exact same thing. And we already know that negative 1 does in fact work. Okay? And so we don't need to check that. Questions?
How do you do that?
Plugging it in?
Yeah.
Wherever you see x is the value you plug it in. So you're just going to plug negative 1 in here for x, negative 1 in here for x, negative 1 in here for x. Real similar to the evaluate problems we had. Okay. Assignment then from yesterday. Oops, skipped it. There we go. Remember 14 through 42 the even, so you need to finish that for tomorrow.